we're going to answer a classic SEO question that I have heard asked many, many times on many, many forums, and which I'm going to now give you the definitive answer to so that we don't have to answer this question ever again. And the question we're going to answer is, does Alexa, so Amazon's proprietary metric to try to evaluate how much traffic sites get and to try to rank them by their traffic, does Alexa affect SEO? And the answer to that is no. It does not affect SEO, at least not directly, for a few reasons. Now, the first reason why Alexa rank doesn't affect SEO is because it's not actually data that is owned by Google. So I've talked before about how a lot of times people will say things like, oh, do likes on Facebook affect SEO? Does data from a company that is not Google affect Google? And the answer is no, at least not directly, because that data isn't owned by Google. Google doesn't have access to Amazon's entire Alexa database or Facebook's like database and so on. And it would also be, even if they can get access through some trade deal with Alexa or whatever, it's not their data. And it's generally a pretty bad idea for a massive multi-billion or maybe multi-trillion dollar company to go and use some other company's data, one of their competitors' data, as part of their ranking algorithm. So no, they don't use that data for SEO. Now, there is a second question, so is there a correlation between Alexa rank and having good search results? The answer is almost certainly yes. So the site that has the #1 Alexa rank and so on is probably going to be a site that does very well in search engines because it's a very popular site with a lot of content, almost certainly. So there is a correlation there. However, like many correlations with search engine optimization, this relationship is not a causal relationship. It's purely a correlation, but it is not caused by the Alexa rank being higher. Now, a common follow-up question that people ask about Alexa rank is, how can I improve my Alexa rank? The way that Alexa works is that they calculate or gather data from various sources, although not from all internet users. So, as they elaborate in their blog, you can read this in more depth. There are various browser extensions that will provide or share this data with Alexa that they can then use to infer how much traffic do different sites get. They also mentioned that there's an option where people can install on their website directly a tool to help measure Alexa traffic. So they have a limited data set that's gathered from essentially people who have opted in, or sometimes probably people who don't even know that they've opted in. There's some fine print somewhere, to sending data to Alexa so they can gather this data and try to infer how much traffic sites have. So sometimes people ask, how can you raise your Alexa rank? And generally, there's two answers to this. The one is that don't do that. There's no purpose to doing that. If you just have a site for your own use, there's no reason for you to try to raise your Alexa rank. There's literally no benefit to doing that. The other reason why people sometimes want to raise their Alexa rank is borderline because they're trying to scam people, where they'll have a site and they'll want to sell their site. So they want to bump up their metrics so they can say, hey, our Alexa rank is so high. That's kind of borderline scamming, so you probably shouldn't just manipulate rankings to fuck people over. Now, if you do want to manipulate your Alexa rank, what people do sometimes do is they'll get users, or they'll have a setup with bots, and they'll just send traffic to a site, and you make sure that site, the users either have the toolbar, one of the toolbars installed that's going to actually send the data to Alexa, or I guess you could also install something on your own site to help them track the data, I suppose. And then you send a bunch of traffic to your site, and it's actually really easy to send botted traffic to any site. It's extremely straightforward to do that. And since now it looks like your site has a lot of your site does have a lot of traffic, but it's not human traffic, and you're trying to game the system, you can actually raise your Alexa rank to, well, you can actually get it really high because traffic is basically free. So out of all the metrics you can game, it's arguably one of the most easy to game. Now, is this a terrible, pointless metric? Is this completely pointless to look at? The answer is, well, not really. There are reasons why you might want to game, or not game, to consider an Alexa rank. It is, if you're not trying to game the Alexa rank, it's actually relatively useful. We're not trying to game this Alexa rank, and you can see over time it's increasing as the site gets more traffic and so on. So it is reasonably accurate if you're not fucking around with it, and if no one else is sending fake traffic to your site and so on. So it's not a terrible metric to use kind of as a bonus thing if you're trying to evaluate someone's site, but you do want to keep in mind, for example, if there was a huge spike all of a sudden because I sent a bunch of botted traffic to this site, you might want to keep that in mind. Why does this go up massively and then fall back down? Maybe it was a social media type thing where a post went viral or something, but it could also be a sign of someone just fucking around with their Alexa ranking. So to answer the question, does Alexa ranking impact SEO? The answer is no. It's a fine metric for some general kind of analysis of sites, but it has a lot of limitations. It's easily exploitable, and you should take this metric with many grains of salt.